Good afternoon, everyone. So, in our today's session, we are going to see acids, base, and salts, part 5. Okay, in last classes, we discussed very well about the natural indicators and the chemical indicator, everything. So, now we are going to talk about the other important concept called neutralization. See, first we have seen what are acids, what are the properties, what are base, what are the properties, and how you can differentiate acid and base, and what are the tests are available to check whether the given solution is acid and base. So now we are going to see another important concept, that is neutralization. So what do you think that neutralization? Neutralize. The word neutralize means to compensate something. The word neutralize means to compensate something. So it means that the effect of one object is neutralized with the effect of another object. The effect of one object is neutralized with the effect of another object. So let us see what it is. So a very interesting thing that we are going to discuss here is what would happen if an acid and a base reacts with each other. So, what would be the response? Because we saw that acids and bases are very much different from each other. So, they don't have anything in common, isn't it? For example, acid is sour in taste, base is bitter in taste, isn't it or not? And they work in a different way. There is no common thing. So, what would happen? Suppose if both react together, what will happen? That is the question here. What would happen if an acid and a base reacts with each other? So what happens is nothing but neutralization. That is here we are going to talk about that is balancing. Neutralization means what I told, compensation, otherwise we can say balancing. So whatever is caused by the acid, when we add a base to it, it tries to compensate it, that is, it will compensate the acid, whatever the acid is. If a base is added to that acid, what the base will do, it will try to compensate the effect of the acid. So that is why it is called compensation, otherwise called neutralization. So this is what happened in neutralization. That is something like is happening, which is going to compensate. Okay. For example, think of this. Let's suppose you have a before getting into that example, I want to clear this picture also. Here one balance is there. What do you mean by balancing? It should be in a both a balance between, meaning what, two objects will be needed, isn't it? Two objects are needed and it should be in a same level. Suppose if there is two acid, how you will compensate? You have to add base. If you have too much amount of base, you have to add acid. So that only it will be balanced, isn't it? For example, Caesar is there. If both are have same weight, it won't move, isn't it? That is called balancing. Okay, so now we are going to talk about some examples. Here the examples are given. Let's suppose you have a turmeric paper. We have already seen in turmeric paper indicator test. Have you remember? Yes, just what we are going to do, we are going to take a turmeric paper. The color of the turmeric paper is what? Initially it is yellow. Am I right? The yellow turmeric indicator paper. That is initially what color? Yellow. Now we are going to dip that turmeric paper in a basic solution. We are going to dip the turmeric paper into a basic solution. Now the color will turn dark red, isn't it? The portion which is dipped in that basic solution, no, that alone will change it into dark red. Okay, now take the same paper, that is the paper dipped in basic solution. No, now take it out and you are going to dip that same paper in a acidic solution. Now what happened? The dark red color appears, no, that once you dip it in an acidic solution, it will change its color again into yellow. What it means? That is, initially it was yellow. Very in a way, while taking before, that is in initial, at the beginning it was yellow. When it dipped in basic, it will change into red, dark red. Again, if you are dipping it in acidic solution, it will again change its color into yellow, isn't it? So basic solution, and then you are dipped in acidic solution. So the basic active, the property is neutralized by the acidic property. Have you understand what I am saying? So basically, if you see, first when it is was put in basic solution, it becomes red. So that was the change which was brought by the basic solution. The red color is because of that red color is brought by the basic solution. When you put it into the acidic solution, so what happens? The color is being neutralized by that acidic solution. So it comes back to yellow. Are you all clear? So acids or bases, they neutralize each other's effect. So if acid is making something yellow, the base will make it red again. When it put it in acid, it will again make it yellow. So they always neutralize with each other's effect. So let's, I want to say one another example. This time we are going to use litmus paper. And we know that two color litmus papers are available. One is red litmus and one is blue litmus. Okay. Now we are going to use blue litmus paper. Okay. So initially the blue litmus, what is the color? Blue only. So the litmus paper is blue color, that paper. That is before we are dipping in the acidic solution. It was blue. Now what we are going to do, we are going to dip this blue litmus paper in a acidic solution. What happens? The color will change into red, isn't it? Okay, when this paper is again put it in a basic solution, what happens? The red color again becomes, that is turns to blue. So basically the effect of acid, because first we dipped in acid, isn't it? So the effect of acid is compensated by the effect of the base. So this is also one of the example of neutralization. So there are some instances which will tell you that acids and bases will neutralize each other. Okay, so from this we can say that neutralization is nothing but, so that is the question, what is neutralization, isn't it? So how we can write, which is nothing but the reaction between an acid and a base. What is neutralization? A reaction between an acid and a base. Okay, so in this reaction, they both neutralize each other's effect. They means here both acid and base, they neutralize among themselves their effects, and the product what we obtained, yes, it won't be neither an acid nor a base. Then what is the product? So what was the product that will form? Because I told it is the reaction between acid and base, but the product, the outcome, the output is neither an acid nor a base. Then what it should be? The products which are formed are basically salt, water, and heat energy is also released with them. So the product of, that is when an acid reacts with base, when acids and bases are treated with each other, what should be the product? Definitely it should be a salt. Along with that salt, water and some amount of heat energy will be released. So salt is, what do you mean by salt? Salt is neither an acid nor a base, but it will be obtained when both react with each other. Have you all clear? Salt is neither an acid nor a base. அது ஆசிடும் கிடையாது பேஸும் கிடையாது. But when they both react with each other, salt will be formed. Okay. So now look at the example. Here one reaction is given. Okay. I told when acid and base react, salt and water will be formed. So what acid here it is taken? HCl. What do you mean by HCl? hydrochloric acid. We already come across this hydrochloric acid. Where? Yes, in our digestive system, because our stomach is secreting an acid is nothing but hydrochloric acid, and it has two properties. What are the properties? Do you know? Do you remember? One thing, it will kill the germs present in the food, and second one, it activates the enzyme pepsin to break the protein compounds into amino acids, that is peptides. Okay, so here that HCl, hydrochloric acid, hydrochloric, so I told it, we in our body also hydrochloric acid is produced by the stomach. Okay, when HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, reacts with a base, what base is here taken? NaOH. Na means sodium, OH means hydroxide, sodium hydroxide. When hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide react with each other, what it will form? When acid and base react, it forms salt. What salt? NaCl. That is this is an acid. So from acid, chlorine, and from base, Na. So this NaCl is formed here. The remaining, this H and this OH join together to form H2O. Have you all clear? When hydrochloric acid HCl and sodium hydroxide NaOH reacts with each other, NaCl, that is called salt, is formed. That is nothing but sodium chloride, otherwise we called as common salt. Along with that, water is formed. Have you all clear with this? So this is the one of the example of neutralization reaction, and the salt formed here NaCl is nothing but the common salt. So this type of reaction is known as neutralization reaction. So let us take some more examples of neutralization reaction. Because you should not think that this reaction only works with hydrochloric acid or sodium chloride. So here some different acid and some different even bases are also given, and let's see what are the products are obtained here. The first reaction, so this is the first reaction, H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid. H2SO4 is what? Sulfuric acid. When sulfuric acid reacts with NaOH, NaOH is nothing but sodium hydroxide. When sulfuric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, sodium sulfate is formed. That is from acid sulfate, and from base sodium reacts to form sodium sulfate, and this H and this OH join together to form water. Have you all clear? When sulfuric acid, H2SO4 is sulfuric acid. When sulfuric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, sodium sulfate and water is formed. Second reaction, KOH. KOH is called potassium hydroxide. So in first reaction we have taken sodium hydroxide. Now potassium hydroxide reacts with hydrochloric acid. Potassium chloride salt is formed along with water. Okay, and third thing, we are going to use nitric acid, HNO3, which is called nitric acid. When nitric acid reacts with potassium hydroxide, potassium nitrate and water is formed. So in all these three reactions, different acids and different bases are used, but the result is different types of salts only. All are salts, but different salts. Here sodium sulfate, potassium chloride, potassium nitrate, but all are generally salts only, along with water. So when an acid reacts with base, the product formed will be neither an acid nor a base. What is the product? Salt. So you see in each of this, we tried with different acid and different base, but the result is salt and water, and this type of reaction is called what? Neutralization. Are we all clear? Okay. So now we are going to see some examples in our day-to-day life where we see the role of acids and bases. So before till now we have talked about what is acid, what is base, how they will work, what is neutralization reaction. In a laboratory way I talked, in a chemical way. Now we are going to do what I am going to say in our day-to-day life also. Some neutralization reaction is happening. So now we are going to see that kind of examples. Okay, first we will see indigestion. So it is also one such example, indigestion. So what do you know by indigestion? We already come across, I hope, have you ever come across this condition in your body? During indigestion, we feel discomfort, a burning sensation, hot back, stomach pain, and all. Is it happening to you? Why it is happening? This is because of indigestion only. Okay. How do you reduce the what is the reason for that indigestion? It might be due to the junk foods or spicy foods or hot foods, whatever it be. During that time, what happened? I told in digestive system, stomach is one of the part of the digestive system. It will produce an acid called HCl. During while eating too much of junk foods or spicy foods or hot foods, what happened? The hydrochloric acid will produce more. So during that time, when the HCl, it is an acid, isn't it? When the HCl production is more, what happened? The burning sensation and the different types of symptoms will be formed. So what we have to do? We have to reduce that activity because it feels there some discomfort. We are feeling pain, isn't it? So what we have to do? We have to reduce that increased secretion of acid. So what we have to do, when the acid secretion is more, to neutralize that we have to add a base, isn't it? So what is the remedy for this acidity? We have to use antacid tablets. What do you mean by antacid? Antacid means against acid, which will work out base. So we are going to use a base tablet, generally called as milk of magnesia. Milk of magnesia, it is called magnesium hydroxide. Even aluminum hydroxide also we can use against this acidity. So acidity is due to the increased production of acid. When it will happen? During indigestion. So what is the remedy? We have to take antacid tablets. What are the antacid tablets? We know milk of magnesia, otherwise called magnesium hydroxide. Otherwise you can also suggest aluminum hydroxide. So neutralization reaction is happening during indigestion. Okay. The second thing is ant bite. So most of us undergone an ant bite in our day-to-day life, isn't it? So what are the how will you feel during the ant bite? Irritation. Sometimes it will swallow, redness in that area, pain, isn't it? We will feel that. Why it is happening? Because when the ant bites, it will inject an acid into our body. That acid is called formic acid. That acid is called what? This is the formula. That is HCOOH. This is the formula of formic acid. HCOOH. Acid always ends with COOH. And formic acid in front you have to add one more H. So here HCOOH. Have you all clear? Okay. So during ant bite, the ant is injecting an acid into our body that is called formic acid. That acid is giving that irritation, redness, swollen and pain in the area. So acid is entered into our body. To overcome that, we have to add a base. So what base we are using here? Moist baking soda, otherwise called sodium bicarbonate. The chemical name of baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. So just sodium bicarbonate is in the form of powder. We have to dissolve in some amount of sodium bicarbonate in water and we have to apply in that ant bite area. So immediately we will get the remedy. We will the pain, the swollen part, everything will be reduced immediately after that application of baking soda in the infected area. Have you all clear? So ant is injecting an acid, formic acid. To overcome that acid effect, we are going to use a base, that is baking soda. What is the chemical name? Sodium bicarbonate. What is the remain? Sodium bicarbonate. Okay. The next thing, even in soil treatment also acid base neutralization is taking place. See, whenever we talk about the soil treatment, the important thing that will essential for that soil treatment, why we are doing that soil treatment? To increase the crop productivity, isn't it? So to increase crop productivity, we are using fertilizers, manure, so many things. Okay, so to increase the crop productivity, the soil should not be too acidic or too basic. It should not be too acidic in nature, or it should not be too basic in nature. If it is too acidic also, the soil will get affected, the crop productivity will be low. If it is too base also, it will affect the soil fertility. So extreme acidic or basic adversely affects soil fertility. Okay, suppose when the soil is too acidic, what we have to do? We have to add a base. When the soil is too basic, we have to add a acid substance. For example, when it is too, suppose the soil is too acidic, what we have to do? We have to treat that soil with either calcium oxide or calcium hydroxide, because both are oxides, that is in the form of base. They are given in the form of oxides and hydroxides. When it is too basic, we have to treat with organic matters. Organic matters are nothing but dead and decaying of plants, animals and human excreta also. They are rich in acidic content. Organic matters, okay, they are rich in acid. So when the soil is too basic, we have to add organic matters, because they are having acid, it will neutralize the reaction. When the soil is too acidic, we have to use the bases such as calcium oxide and calcium hydroxide, so that it will affect it will react with that acidic substance, and it will neutralize the soil. So the crop productivity will be increased. Okay, so these are the things, neutralization reactions, it's happening in our day-to-day life. Okay, so with this lesson has been over. In next class we will discuss the book back questions in a separate video. Okay, thank you.